Meanwhile, troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation HADIN KAI have recorded successes in the ongoing Operation DESERT SANITY, destroying multiple terrorist camps, recovering arms and equipment, and repelling coordinated attacks by the insurgents in the Timbuktu Triangle.
Troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast under Operation HADIN KAI had moved again into the heart of the Timbuktu Triangle. By the time details began to emerge, it was already clear that something significant had happened. Multiple terrorist camps had been cleared, armed drone attacks had been repelled, and for communities that have lived with fear for years, it was another long night that ended with cautious relief. Now, at this point, let's slow down and walk through what really happened, step by step, the way it unfolded on the ground. Early on Sunday, 18th January 2026, Nigerian troops received what military sources described as credible intelligence. This was not guesswork or random movement. The information pointed clearly to known terrorist enclaves hidden within the rugged terrain of Chilaria, Garin Faruk and Abirma, areas long associated with Boko Haram and ISWAP activity. These locations sit deep inside the Timbuktu Triangle, a vast, difficult stretch of land where thick bushes, broken roads, and abandoned settlements have often worked in favor of terrorists. With that intelligence in hand, the order was given. The operation was codenamed Operation DESERT SANITY, a name that already hinted at its purpose: to bring order back into spaces where chaos had ruled for too long.
As dawn broke, troops began their advance. The movement was careful but deliberate. Armored vehicles rolled slowly along narrow, dusty tracks. Infantry units spread out, scanning the tree lines and abandoned structures. The forest was quiet in that tense, unnatural way that often comes before violence. Birds scattered. Dry leaves crunched under boots. Every sound mattered. Above them, unseen by many on the ground, the air component of Operation HADIN KAI was already active. Surveillance aircraft and platforms provided continuous intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. This aerial support was crucial. It allowed commanders to see movements ahead, track possible escape routes, and make sure terrorist fighters could not easily reinforce their positions or slip away unnoticed. But here's where the story gets deeper. These were not empty camps. As troops pushed into Chilaria first, they encountered well-established terrorist hideouts. Makeshift shelters blended into the environment. Dugouts and camouflaged positions showed signs of long-term occupation. It was clear that these camps had served as operational bases, places where attacks were planned, weapons stored, and fighters rested between raids on communities. One by one, the camps were overrun. Weapons were recovered. Ammunition of various calibers lay stacked in crates and sacks. Communication devices, radios, and phones told their unsilenced story of coordination and planning. Vehicles, some stolen and some modified for combat, were seized. There were fuel dumps hidden under tarpaulins, medical supplies meant to treat wounded fighters, and food stockpiles enough to sustain operations for weeks. Each item recovered weakened the terrorists' ability to fight another day.
As the operation moved from Chilaria to Garin Faruk and then Abirma, the tension did not ease. If anything, it grew. Terrorist elements, sensing the pressure and the loss of their strongholds, attempted to fight back in a new way. Around midday, the first drone attack came. According to military authorities, armed drones were launched in an attempt to disrupt the advancing troops. For soldiers on the ground, this was a dangerous moment. Unlike traditional attacks, drones can appear suddenly, buzzing overhead, carrying explosives and uncertainty. There is fear in that sound, even for trained professionals. But training and teamwork held firm. Troops responded swiftly, using established countermeasures and coordinated defensive actions. The drones were neutralized and the attackers were forced to pull back. The advance did not stop. Then, as evening approached and shadows stretched across the terrain, another attempt was made. A second drone attack followed, clearly aimed at slowing the troops or causing casualties under the cover of fading light. Again, the response was calm and disciplined. Soldiers took their positions. Communication lines remained open. Support elements stayed alert. Once more, the drones failed to achieve their objective and the terrorists withdrew. Let's pause and think about the human side of this moment.
For the soldiers, this was not just a tactical victory. It was hours of intense focus, knowing that one mistake could cost lives. It was trusting the person next to you, trusting the intelligence from above, trusting your training when fear tries to creep in. For nearby communities, even those far from the exact locations of the fighting, the atmosphere was heavy. People heard distant sounds. Some saw military convoys passing through earlier in the day. Others noticed the unusual activity in the skies. Memories of past attacks lingered, and with them, anxiety. Yet, when word spread that terrorist camps had been destroyed and attacks repelled, reactions began to change. Relief mixed with caution, hope tempered by experience. In villages that have suffered displacement, abductions, and loss of livelihoods, every military success is received with guarded optimism. Residents know that one operation does not end a conflict, but they also understand that each cleared camp reduces the immediate threat to farmers, traders, travelers, and children trying to go to school. Community leaders in the wider Northeast have repeatedly emphasized the importance of sustained security presence. They speak of roads that were once death traps now slowly reopening. They talk about markets that are beginning to see more activity, about families considering returning to lands they abandoned years ago. Security forces, for their part, say morale among troops remains high. According to military authorities, vigilance has been intensified and operations will continue. The message is clear. There will be no pause that allows terrorists to regroup or rebuild what has been destroyed. But here is another layer we need to consider. The use of armed drones by terrorist groups is a reminder that the conflict is evolving. These groups are adapting, seeking new ways to challenge security forces. This reality underscores the need for constant intelligence gathering, technological upgrades, and cooperation between air and ground units. It also highlights the importance of civilian cooperation. Many of the breakthroughs in recent operations have come from timely information provided by locals, people who notice unusual movements, new faces, or strange activities near their communities. Without such cooperation, terrorists find it easier to hide among civilians or operate from remote areas. This is why authorities continue to urge residents to remain vigilant and report suspicious activities through established channels. Not out of fear, but out of shared responsibility. Please like this video and subscribe. Your support helps us share important stories responsibly. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. The Northeast has endured over a decade of insurgency. Entire generations have grown up knowing nothing but checkpoints, military patrols, and displacement camps. While significant progress has been made, especially in reclaiming territories and restoring civil authority, the scars remain deep. Operations like Desert Sanity are part of a broader effort to dismantle not just the fighters, but the infrastructure that sustains them. Camps are not just shelters, they are symbols of control, intimidation, and false power. Destroying them sends a message to the terrorists and to the communities that the state is reclaiming space. At the same time, long-term peace requires more than military action. Rebuilding schools, healthcare facilities, and livelihoods is essential. Addressing youth unemployment and social grievances reduces the pool of vulnerable individuals who might be drawn into extremist groups. Security experts often point out that sustained peace comes when military pressure is matched with development and reconciliation. Back on the ground, in the immediate aftermath of the operation, troops conducted thorough sweeps to ensure no explosive devices or hidden fighters were left behind. Engineers checked routes, patrols were established. The aim was not just to win a battle, but to secure the area. Residents who later passed through these zones spoke of seeing destroyed camps, burnt-out structures, and scattered remnants of what once posed a deadly threat. Some described a strange quiet, a silence that felt different, less menacing.
But caution remains the watchword. Military authorities have warned against complacency. Terrorist groups have, in the past, attempted to return to cleared areas or carry out retaliatory attacks. That is why continued patrols, intelligence monitoring, and community engagement are critical. As we continue, please like this video and subscribe. It truly helps us keep bringing verified, balanced stories to you. Emotionally, stories like this carry weight. Behind every recovered weapon is a potential attack that did not happen. Behind every repelled drone is a group of soldiers who went home alive that day. Behind every cleared camp is a family that may sleep a little easier.
And yet, we must remember those who have already suffered, the displaced, the bereaved, the traumatized. Reporting on security successes should never erase their pain. Instead, it should strengthen our resolve to ensure such suffering is not repeated.
So, what is the lesson here for public safety? First, vigilance saves lives. Whether you are a soldier on the front line or a civilian in a rural community, awareness matters. Second, cooperation is powerful. Security agencies cannot be everywhere at once. Communities play a vital role in early warning and prevention. Third, resilience is possible. The Northeast has been tested repeatedly, but stories like these show that progress, though slow, is real. As the dust settles in Chilaria, Garin Faruk and Abirma, the work continues. Patrols remain active, intelligence units stay alert, and communities watch closely, hopeful but cautious. The road to lasting peace is long, but each operation like this shortens the distance. Please stay informed, stay cautious, support your local security initiatives, and remember that peace is a shared responsibility. Please like this video and subscribe. Your support helps us share important stories responsibly, amplify the voices of affected communities, and keep the focus on safety, accountability, and hope. For now, the night in the Timbuktu Triangle is a little quieter than it was before, and for many, that quiet means everything.